Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Today, we've got a really wonderful guest right now. We've got Andre, the Alchemist 369. So, we're finally able to talk to him. So, I'm just going to introduce everybody. Sophia's with me as usual. And how are you doing
Right.
today, Andre? How's it going, my friend?
Man, I'm well. I'm well. Can't complain. Can't complain at all. Everything's great over here. How about yourself, man?
Man, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I just woke up not a long time ago. I've been losing a lot of sleep. Me and my co-host, this dimension has been putting us through it, man. So we've been kind of like
Yeah.
walking through the fire lately in
Yeah,
so many different
upgrade is
aspects.
hard.
Very, very hard, man. It's been crazy. You wouldn't even. I don't even want to get into it because it's such a long story and it's crazy. But you know what? We've got you here. You're going to be able to maybe drop some jewels today to kind of help us to know that we may not actually be trapped in this density that we call, life, the game of life, so to speak. And we're just
Yeah.
very interested, man, in learning more about that in your journey. And so, yeah, so if you will, just tell our audience a little bit about your background. Like, what sort of background do you come from, first of all?
Yeah, yeah. So pretty standard. I grew up in New York. There. I was before I started doing this full time. I was an aerospace project engineer. Where I managed space programs for customers such as like NASA, Lockheed Martin, Boeing Satellite. Things of that nature. Um, Yeah, and now I stopped doing that, and now I pursue this full time. Actually,
Awesome, man. So how are those ETs doing over there, man?
they're great. They're good, man. They're definitely there for
What
sure.
made
I'll
you get
say
out
that.
of that line of work?
So as I started I started expanding my consciousness. Playing with things with like manifestation. Meditation, just really trying to understand how strong the human mind can really be, like how far can we really push this, and that led me to like astral projection. um, and at that point, I was navigating places kind of like what remote viewing would be like. I could take my consciousness and go pretty much anywhere. And then after that, I kind of started going down like this conspiracy path and like understanding, okay, they're lying to us about this, they're lying to us about that. And then eventually all of those things kind of mixed and it led me to the out of body experience. And then there, I was leaving my body and I was actually figuring out, oh, a lot of these things are actually true. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so then after that, I said, I no longer want to play into this system anymore, and it just got to a point where I could no longer do it. I just could no longer give my energy to a system like that.
Oh man, I don't blame you. Part of what I've been going through for the last few years is being beat the hell up by corporate America. Like I'm in the IT industry, and as you may know, how the corporate America set up. I mean, they're very kind of cold, callous in the way that they treat people, and it's all about the bottom line and so forth. And people can be expendable depending on the companies you work for, stuff like that. And it's a real
Oh yeah,
shame. And yeah, I feel you on that. Um,
Yeah, the world is a
but
vampire.
for real,
yeah, for sure.
it really is, man. It really is. And being that you have that background dealing with NASA, some of these big military contractors, and you mentioned like I'm really fascinated with the UAP situation, and we've been having congressional hearings regarding that, like trying to get disclosure pushed through um, a lot of this stuff. And I mean, I don't have any experience that I know of with UAPs or anything like that, but I don't think people necessarily want to lie about this kind of stuff. Um, I know that there's so many, I know people who've had these sort of encounters. So it's really, and I think this is tied into consciousness somehow. I think it may be tied into, um, what we're doing here. From what I understand. What
Yeah,
is your thoughts on that? Yeah, just real quick.
yeah, for sure. So, um, now let me give context to some people of like where this stuff is coming from. Like, I'm not just pulling it, out of my butt here.
Mm,
But
right.
so what I do is, I leave my body. And when I say I leave my body, I'm not talking about like astral projection or something of that nature. I'm talking about literally shutting my physical body down to the point where my soul leaves it. It's essentially no different than like a near death experience. It's like when I leave my body, my soul is actually out, and it allows me to see things and do things out of the human body that typically we don't have access to. So with doing that, I will say, a lot of the UAP activities, like the drones that were flying around and things like that, a lot of those
Mm-hmm.
were government drones and things like that. However, there are um, ETs as well, for sure, 100% that are here,
Mm,
and this does tie into consciousness because this is the trajectory that we're heading, right? We're heading to
mm-hmm.
full disclosure, we're heading to awakening. That's why we're having these types of conversations and things like that. That's just a natural trajectory that humanity is on. So for sure these things are tied into that. A lot of the sightings are tied into that, but there's also a lot of narratives that aren't necessarily true that are put out into the media as well. So I
Mm.
would just advise people just to be careful of like which narrative you believe, um, for sure.
I
Right,
just
right.
have a few questions. So you said there for sure are ETs, and I've never encountered one, obviously. So my question is, what's their purpose? If they are here, how are they here? Like, are they outside of our perception? Do you know
Yeah.
what their purpose is?
Yeah, so I mean, there's all different races of ETs. There's all different species, just like there's different species of humans, right? And all of them have different agendas and things like that, as well as, not every race has the same agenda. There's just the same way, different humans that have different agendas as well. But and they are, when I say they're here, they are here. They're just outside of our bandwidth of frequency that we're able to see. As you guys know, the human body only has access to so much of the light spectrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, these guys are coming from other parts of that light spectrum, right? That's just outside of our frequency. The way you can think of this is like a television, right? How we're on one channel, but it doesn't mean that the other channels don't exist, right? They do exist. So say we're on channel one, the ETs would be on channel two. And the ETs, what they can do is, since they're, obviously more advanced than the typical human, they know how to traverse from channel two to channel one. So that's where they're coming from. And that's, how they become visible. Now, what their agenda is, the ones that we're seeing coming out publicly and things like that, they're just trying to wake up
Mm-hmm.
humanity to the fact that, they're real. There's other beings here. They've been here, just trying to help essentially do their part in the great awakening, for sure.
Right. Like I
Okay.
hear a lot about these plasma orbs that seem to respond to like these psionics sort of practices, and they kind of show up and um, they kind of dance with us in a way, which is really
Yeah.
interesting. I just
What you
wish I
guys
could
are
see
seeing
them.
there with the orbs is, I don't know how far you guys want to take this, but we can just say those orbs are definitely ETs. I'll say that. There are
Mm-hmm.
other beings, for sure. Uh, for sure, like 100%. Like I've seen this out of my body, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So getting back to
Interesting
that,
because I had a theory on those. on those orbs or whatever
Right.
plasma thingies.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, because I'm a mystic and I do have similar experiences such as yourself. And it was like um they were natural phenomena that basically appear, right? In defense of nature whenever there is stuff going on that we may not know about that the government's into, or if there's like imminent danger that could really seriously threaten the environment. And so they, from my understanding, they are able to absorb like massive amounts of radiation. And so I was wondering, is there if there's anything to that, because that's kind of what I picked up on intuitively, I would say.
I haven't necessarily seen too much about radiation or anything of that nature, but from my understanding, what these orbs are, they're actual beings from the other realms here materialize in this reality. So, like when I was saying from the other channels, you could say on the TV, they are
Mm-hmm.
actual beings from these other channels, and that's just how they materialize here in this density. That's essentially, what I've seen.
Gotcha.
And
So
that like,
when
is there a purpose to that though, or just for us to see them and be aware that
wake up.
there's other, you know, life or something?
Yeah, you can say that that's the purpose. I like to call it the blending of the realms, as we're moving towards full disclosure and everything being open again. I'd like to say it's more so considered like the blending of the realms as our frequency rises. Um, we start to have more access to the light spectrum and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. And now these things are becoming more visible. And
Sort
at the
of,
same time as our
sort of like
frequencies rise,
integration.
trying to come in. Yeah.
Awesome. So
Okay.
when you how did you get into the OBEs? I know from some of my research, you learned a lot from the teachings of Darius Wright. Is but you had mentioned that you were always sort of interested in seeing how far the mind could utilize itself to do stuff like that, right? Um,
Yeah.
now it's so. uh, Is that kind of how you got started? Just being curious and studying his teachings and
Yeah.
stuff.
So how I got started, I was like just doing the gateway tapes, trying to get my consciousness out of here. I don't necessarily know why at that point. At that point, I think it was more so for um like materialistic advantages here for sure. Like if I was like, oh, I can astral project, let me see if I can do that and see how this can help me. And then I got into like manifestation and creating my reality with my thoughts and things like that. I believe that was like my original intention, was to just see what I can create and how far I can do here. But then somewhere along the line that shifted, because I got into like spirituality a lot more, and I'm like, wow, like what else is there out there? And then I was like
Hmm.
trying to leave my body to go see these things. Like I remember watching like Matias De Stefano was a big one that I used to watch all the time. I used to watch him talking about his past lives and things, and I just kind of believed him. So I was like, yo, I wonder if I can leave to see that, right? So I was trying
Hmm.
every which way to get out. And, a couple instances, I would actually feel my soul leaving my body. And that was the scariest feeling ever, because it's literally like you're dying. Like an out of body experience is like your soul is it's literally leaving your body. So it's just a scary feeling. So I would shut it down. I'd get to that point and then I'd be like, oh no, I can't go. Like, cause I didn't know if I would die. I didn't know like where I was going. Right. Um, and then my mom died. And around the same time she died, I was having sleep paralysis like every day. And I didn't
Hmm.
understand how sleep paralysis and out of body experiences were correlated. And then I found Darius talking about it on an interview, mentioning how sleep paralysis is the gateway to the other side. And that just clicked for me. Like it just clicked, because I was like, wow, I've been trying to leave my body. My mom just passed away, and now I'm having sleep paralysis every night. I'm like, all right, this is
Mm.
obviously the path I need to go. Um, So that's what I did, and then he opened my eyes up to everything, man. He opened my eyes up to, the other side is real. You can leave this place and you can come back to it and everything. So from there I just started having my own out of body experiences and seeing everything that he was talking about, trying to see it for myself. And that's when I came up with the game of life thesis that I have is an example to kind of explain creation and the purpose of this place,
Hmm.
and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I
Interesting. So what would you say is the purpose? I'm sorry.
no,
I
no
was
problem.
gonna
There's a
ask,
lag
what do you
somewhere,
think is
so
the purpose of?
The purpose of this is just experience, right? So what I know to be true from leaving my body is we're just infinite souls, right? We have always existed from all of eternity, right? So when you just always exist, what do you want to do? You want to experience something, right? You don't want to just sit there and not do anything, right? So the whole purpose of this is to gain experience. And with experience comes wisdom, right? And that's like what we do. We set out to experience ourselves. And then the purpose of this place is to experience literally like what it's like to not be a god, like because outside of this, the soul has no limitations, but these physical bodies that we are in right now, they do have
mhm.
limitations. The physical soul has no limitation. So if you're a god all the time and you can just create and you can just do whatever you want, you will never truly appreciate that because you don't know what it's like to not have those abilities. So it's like, okay, we created this game for us to come in where we can forget that we are eternal souls. We can give ourselves limitations, and then we can experience what it's like to not be a god. And then after, once you get out of here and you return back home to the other side, you realize, oh, and it's just the biggest revelation ever is like once you get outside of here and cross over, like that's the best feeling like I've ever had in my life.
Wow. So it's like
Yeah,
consciousness
that's
is
kind of
using
very
this
much.
to, yeah, it's expanding through this experience. Yeah. Go ahead,
It's
Sophia.
Yeah,
basically
for
like
sure.
kind of where it's kind of like how we see it, because we don't call it God, but we say consciousness. And in my model, consciousness is primordial. So, in other words, this duality that it expresses itself as is, in other words, to create meaning, right? Would you say that's pretty accurate through this experience?
There is meaning in this experience, but I wouldn't say it's to create meaning because we all have meaning. Now, I don't, there is no godly figure, but I do call, there is this source, which is like this field of all things. And what that did, that's like where we all like come from, kind of. And like if there ever was a beginning, we would all come from this, and then we split out to our individual souls, and then we create constructs or universes to come in and have experiences in. That's kind of like how it is. And then we get to this creation where it's like, okay, some souls got together and we're like, let's create a creation where we can come to experience what it's like to not be a god and have limitations and templates and things like that. So it is to give it meaning, but it's more so just to give us the understanding and compassion of like each other when we're in forgetfulness. You know what I mean?
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And we kind of see it that way as well. Um, I always compare it to a light passing through a prism, and then it kind of splits into all the different separate colors, but it all comes from the same stream, right?
Yeah, all comes from the same stream for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that's idealism basically. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So is that what you would consider yourself, or do you label yourself at all?
Oh, I don't label. I just label myself as a truth seeker. Like whatever the truth
Right.
is, that's, what I align with, and that's why I leave my body, is to get undistorted truth. Because there's what I've found is that, there's different layers of things in truth, right? Like, so there's the one layer where everybody typically is when it comes to knowledge and information, where you're just reading from a book and you're just picking up on what another human tells you, right? There's that level of information. And then there's a level of information where people are going within. And when they go within and they receive downloads and things like that, and it's just like a feeling, like an intuitive feeling, there's that. But with that, that's the more true for sure. But with that, it's also kind of hard to like verify it, right? It's hard to like
Right.
verify what you're seeing or like what you're doing. And then that's why I fell in love with the out of body state, because this is like verifiable, because you're actually seeing things, you're touching things. And there's experiments that we've been doing where we've, people will write a number. We go to the house, we'd see what number they wrote out of our bodies, and we tell them, things like that. So like this is like becoming verifiable. And also, once you're out of your body and you're in your soul, those things are more so to like prove to other people. But like when you're actually doing this and you're out, like what you're seeing is real. So like when you're leaving and you're seeing this stuff, and you can go back in history, see ancient civilizations, you can see everything. It really adds some validity to, what the experience is. So yeah, I would definitely say I consider myself just a truth seeker.
Right.
Wow. What is your
Yeah, I can
what is your
kind of relate to
perspective
that.
about world religions? Like world religions, what is your perspective on that based on everything you've experienced?
Their control system and their current state right now.
Oh yeah.
That's all it is. It's a control system, man. Now, is there some
So let
truth
me
in
ask
some of the
you,
religion? Yeah.
I had a question about that as well. Sorry, there is a little bit of a lag. So I'm not trying to cut people off or anything like that. But I was gonna
We'll
say,
edit it.
okay, because I see it like that too. But like, you know how people talk about the reptilians and stuff, and I myself, I've dealt with people that you could consider, narcissistic or whatever, and I would also undergo this thing called sleep paralysis, but I didn't know what that was, and it was happening to me since I've been a
Oh,
kid.
you've had sleep
But as I
paralysis.
yes, but so since when I got
me
older,
me too, yeah.
I started to
You guys need to
I
leave your
started to
body then,
realize,
man.
yeah, I mean, I have done that too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh, all right.
What I was gonna ask is, so I started noticing a pattern because I'm really big on pattern recognition, to the point where people think that what is wrong with her? Like, why does she know everything? And it's like, I don't know everything, but I just have a really good sense of pattern recognition. And so whenever there's like a draining person in my life, or a person that just really doesn't mean me any good, um, on a deeper level, I will get like these revelations during sleep paralysis of that person's true nature. And so I have seen things like um reptilian
Uh-huh.
type,
Uh-oh.
um what would you call
Uh-oh.
it, like
Yeah.
Beings,
what I'm breaking
reptilian.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would see their true essence, and it
Yeah, you're
wouldn't
breaking up.
be human. Am I?
I can hear you pretty
Am
clear.
Yeah, try to take
well,
pretty
I
clear,
think
not
that's
chopping
you,
up. Okay,
Scott.
good. It might be just on my end. Boy, I think so because my setup is just. We had storms last night and it was crazy. Yeah. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Sophia.
Yeah, so once I would identify that and be able to relate it to the actual, like I would ask myself, okay, what person is in my waking life that is siphoning my energy with maybe chaos or manipulation or some other type of psychic attack? And once I identify it, uh, it becomes visible to me on that level when I'm having sleep paralysis. And then that helps me kind of confirm it. And then I'm able to kind of clear that energy out. And so that's how I do like my own energy work. And I've heard other people say that they had similar experiences, but then they would ascribe it to um, alien abduction. And I'm like, okay, but we're describing like the same exact thing, but yet they perceive it to be alien abduction. And in a way, it makes sense because when I see the true nature of that person and I realize that this person has been siphoning my energy through like narcissism or anything like that, in a way, it's kind of like an abduction because they're siphoning your energy, right? So I noticed that some people call it an alien abduction and stuff like that. And I was just going to ask you, what do you think about that?
I wouldn't say it's like an alien abduction, but they can siphon your energy for sure, but if you're aware of it, you can just shut it down. And when you say that you see people's
Right.
true essence as like being a reptilian or something like that, now we're all souls in essence, a just like we're in a human character right now, the reptilians are just another character in the game, in the game of life. They're just another character. And outside of this game, the reptilians are still souls, just like you and I. But does that mean some souls could have been a reptilian, many times over and over, and then they come and be a human, so they still have, reptilian type tendencies? Yes.
Ah,
Mm.
yeah, see, that makes a lot of
S-
sense right there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that reminds me of the elites. Do the elites of this world know about these sort of things, would you say?
Yeah, man.
Do
Yeah.
they have these
Yeah, I'm pretty
tendencies?
sure they
Is
would.
that why they build these
Yeah.
systems of control?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, they
so
do.
do they have this tendency like of being pretty much, I don't know, cold blooded? Is that why they create these systems of control to siphon, our energy and keep us
So
in this like low vibrational um
yeah.
paradigm?
Yeah, so what I can say, the reason for the control is just all right. So we're here to experience that of which we are not, and with this comes different illusions that we can experience, right? Like the illusion of power, the illusion of dominion over another soul, the illusion of control, right? So now some people come
Hmm.
here and they get addicted to this illusion of control because nobody has control over another soul. Once you're outside of here, could you imagine God having control over another God? Like, no, we're all evil, equal, right? But in here, when we're in this game, somebody you can create the illusion of control over another soul or over another being. So a
Mm.
lot of souls get addicted to that, right? And now when you mix the illusion of control here and people become greedy and you mix that in with ETs who are more advanced, who have more consciousness than the average human, right? And you mix that in, and then the humans that are addicted to control get in cahoots with those guys, and they get information and knowledge and ideas on how to create religion and how to control a population, how to create a monetary system, and all of that. That's kind of like how that happened for sure.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm. So,
very
can
interesting.
we give our power away? Is it possible to give our power away, or we always have our
That
power?
That is a great question, Scott. So, yes, you can give your power away. So, nothing is more powerful than the will of your soul, right? We are constantly creating through our own beliefs our reality. Now, if you believe somebody can control you, either whether you're in body or when you return home back in your soul form, if you believe somebody can control you, that is giving your power away to that. So that is why, I strongly preach, stand for yourself, be a sovereign being, be your ultimate
Yes.
authority, and understand that nobody can control, hurt, or harm your soul. But yes, you can certainly give your power away for sure. And it's just done by your belief, by believing that you have no power. Yeah.
Now, I try to believe that I have power, and it seems like irregardless of that, I keep going through, challenges and things that knock me down, and it's like, wow, I do believe I have power. I believe I can really, if I put my energy towards a certain vision enough, even subtly, even consciously, I still get challenged, I still get knocked down. And so I started looking at maybe why does this happen? And there's a lot of different teachings. A lot of folks will tell you, well, this is inevitable, it's for a reason. It's so consciousness or like the God can sort of evolve through that experience through each and every one of us. But on the other hand, I hear folks like yourself, like other people that will tell you, well, you have unlimited power. You have the power to kind of direct your life. And is
Yeah,
this is the belief that you're talking about? Is it more like how you can know things intellectually, and then you can kind of know things from a really deep emotional level? And which one is more supervening on the other? Would you say, if that's the case?
definitely on the emotional level. And I say that because the human mind is nothing. It's all emotion. When I ask you how to raise your frequency, what are you going to do? You're going to change your feelings, right? So emotions are
Mm,
basically everything. But now, the first half of that question was when you go through something, right? And you say this is inevitable. You are so powerful. There's nothing more powerful than the will of your soul. You can literally will things into creation here. I've done this. This is what we call manifestation, right? You
mm-hmm,
can literally, if you see something with your mind's eye and you think on it hard enough, and then you take actions towards that those things can come. You can literally create your reality around you from your thoughts, intention, and actions. Now, do certain things happen in your life that you don't want them to, even when you're an all powerful being and you're aware of all this? Yes, you still may run into certain obstacles. However, it's nothing like it's nobody putting those obstacles in front of you. You set those things up for yourself. If it's an inevitable event, there's there's events that happen in your life that you cannot change, and that is because you set them up for yourself before you came here. Now, that's on a personal level.
ah,
There's also fixed time events that happen on a major scale, like at this time, or not at this time, but this event is supposed to happen. Like, for an example of this would be the Great Awakening, right? That's just a set time event. That's gonna happen for sure. Like, there's no way around that. Now, the same thing is true for your life. So when you come in here and you're saying, okay, because we all choose to come in here, right? This is the game of life. We're all souls. We figure out that there's this game we can go play to gain a lot of experience in, but we have to forget who we are, and we have to come in, be born a baby, and we have to decide, like, pick our character. Where do you want to be born? Your parents, all of those things that people say are true.
mm-hmm,
And then along with that, that comes in, okay, what certain things do you want to experience with certain people, even? And then those fixed
mm,
time events will come in. Now, an example of this is, say, on the other side, I chose to meet a partner of mine that I want to meet with. Now, the fixed time event would be I meet her regardless, right? But the time,
mm-hmm,
the place, where I'm at emotionally, where she's at emotionally when we meet, now that can differ, because before that fixed time event, we had free will before we got there, right? So you can go
mm-hmm,
this way, this way, this way, this way, but eventually you're going to end up here. Um,
mm-hmm.
so it's kind of like that. So events certainly do happen. And that's for a long time there, man. That's when I stopped manifesting. Like, as soon as I understood all this, and I'm like, man, let me stop creating, because I don't want to be creating something and be way over here. And then next thing you
Yeah,
know, I get whipped right back on track. So I was like, let me just take it easy
exactly.
until I figure out what I really need to do with my life, and then
That makes
yeah.
so much sense,
You say that, would you say that a lot of times certain things that happen in our lives, we feel like they're just happening to us without really taking accountability. And I think it takes a lot of really true self-reflection, and honesty with yourself, because there's this saying that the universe reflects back to you what you actually are, not what you believe you are. And so, would you say that that holds weight? That that's true?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's true. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So you guys we have to get out, humans, everybody, we have to get out of the victim mentality, thinking that things are just happening to us. You create every
happening
situation in your
through us.
life. And yeah, and I did a lot of this work before I even got into the out of body state, by meditating, by changing my mentality and seeing how every situation, every event that happened in my life, I was looking back and seeing, okay, how did I contribute to that? Because I know I became aware that I created everything in my life. So I was like, okay, what part, I would look at a part of my life that I did not like, and I would take accountability for why that was in my life. I would see my role in it, and then that kind of helped shift my perspective from, okay, things are happening to me, or I'm actually creating my reality unconsciously. And then as you make that
Yeah.
shift, you can then begin to create your life consciously through your thoughts, intentions, and actions.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree with that.
I used to interview when I lived in California. I used to be part of the IANS, the International Association of Near Death Studies. And I
Mm.
used to interview a lot of folks who used to have near death experiences. And so we'd meet, every Saturday and we'd all talk and people would give lectures. There were people who, special guests that would give lectures. And then we'd, interview, talk to people. I had like a little notebook I'd walk around and I'd just, interview everybody, record stuff. And everybody kind of says the same sort of stuff that you're saying right here. And they would sort of relate this to something. What was it called? Like spirit records or soul records, they tell me, and versus
Yeah, yeah,
like the universe records and stuff like that. And do you know
yeah,
anything about that kind of stuff? Because I've heard a lot about
yeah,
that from
man.
those guys.
Yeah, man. And I love the fact that you said near death experiencers are talking about that, because that's great. Like earlier, I was saying like an out of body experience is no different than a near death, because it's not. We're outside of our body, we're accessing the same stuff. And yes, man, there are soul records. Now, a lot of people here will call that like the Akashic records and things like that, but that name does not
Yeah.
exist on the other side. That's just a made up name that humans put on that. But it's literally just your soul records. Like that's like the human word for it. Like that's when I want to access them, I say my soul records, and I'll be taken to either um, a past life of mine, or I will always be taken to a past life of mine. That's my soul records, right? But
Mm.
I can view it differently. Either when I'm accessing my soul records, I actually just did a video on this and put it on my website, different types of soul records. But so sometimes when I'm accessing my soul records, I will literally be in this other body of mine in this other life. So I'll be in my soul, and then my soul would enter the body of the past life of mine, and I would experience it that way. Another
Wow.
way I've had past lives is I've seen it on like a tablet, and it would just display on me like a movie. And then as I'm watching it, like my soul's memory will return, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember this." And then I'll just download all the memories from that. That's another way. My partner Lova, she leaves her body, she accesses her soul records sometimes, and sometimes they're like pictures, and then when she looks at it, the picture will become like a movie. So soul records can be a number of things, but that is a real thing, because every experience is recorded. Nothing is ever lost. So you can always go back to re-experience anything you want. Like I can actually I could access your soul records, because everything is revealed
Mm.
on the other side. There's no privacy. You can say like
Mm-hmm.
privacy is a thing that like humans do, which is weird to me, because
Right.
like on the other side, like that just doesn't exist. Everything's just known, right? Um, but yeah, and then
I
there's
have
a
a question
universal
about that.
records too. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be the one to push back here, but I do agree. I have had similar experiences. Like I did not know that I was Native American, and I had dreams about a Native American woman that kept telling me to follow the ancient way, and she was speaking in a different language, and it's like I experienced a past life seeing myself as some Apache warrior woman and stuff. And I was just like, what the hell? I'm going crazy. But this was going on like my entire childhood until I actually found out that I am part Choctaw. And I was like, oh my God, now it's all making sense. And then I saw a picture of my great grandmother, and she happened to look almost identical to myself. So what I'm getting at here is that could we not attribute that to like cellular memory, that it's accessible, consciously or subconsciously? um, like you said, I agree, nothing ever disappears, just like the internet. Once that information is there are imprints of information, right? And they're just there. So could we attribute that to like an accumulation of karma, so to speak?
So yeah, so when I say everything is recorded, it is, but it's more so out of the physical body. Like when you're accessing these records, you're not accessing them in the physical body. But like what you're talking about, like cellular memory and things like that, that exists too for sure in the physical body, because I've talked to people that say they remember their past lives or have certain memories of things, and it's like what you were talking about for sure. Um, but I wouldn't say, but there is a records like literally every scene, every interaction exists, and you can go and access that. And that's why there's all these talks of records throughout history, like the soul records, the universal records, the akashic you hear all these records all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
very true.
Yeah.
Everything is recorded, for sure.
Okay.
So
Well,
some of
thanks
our
for
audience
answering it.
members, yeah, some of our audience members, of course, I was kind of letting you know that a lot of these folks are atheists and skeptics, and they join our channel. They're part of our community. I think because they're curious, and even though they kind of always, you know, push back a lot, I think that they're still hanging around because I think deep down inside they're really interested. But what they always will ask for, of course, as usual, they'll always say, "Well, what's your evidence of this?" There's a big emphasis on skepticism, doubt, denial.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why do you think that's the case? And then how would you respond to those kind of folks?
I say I resonate a lot with them because I was the same fucking way. Um, when
Yeah,
I'm talking to
yeah, I
people and
can
I'm
see
hearing
that.
people, talking about, oh, you remember your past life? Like, what? Like, how do I know you're telling the truth? Like, what are you talking? Where are you getting this information from? You know what I mean? Like, how come? And then
Mm-hmm.
I try to access it and stuff. That's why I love the out of body state, man, because everything that I'm telling you about, you can learn how to leave your body and do it too and see it too. You can see everything that
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying for yourself. I help people leave their body. Darius teaches people how to leave their body. Um, Literally, this is something that everybody can do. And once you start leaving your body and getting into this world, like I highly suggest anybody to watch all of my interviews, watch all of Darius J. Wright's interviews, and just kind of step into that world and kind of see what we're talking about and try to see if you can find any holes in what we're saying, any holes at all.
Right,
If you can,
right.
cool, let me know. Shoot me a message like, bro, I think I found a hole or something, because I don't think you can. But you can
Okay.
also leave your body and see these things for yourself. So like I would say, if somebody's doubting me, I say, okay, learn how to leave your body for yourself and tell me what you see. you know
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we talk a lot about experiential knowledge, and I think experiential knowledge is the most powerful, at least personally. Now, it probably doesn't hold a lot of water with a third party person who's just doesn't have that same experience. That's why it's so powerful because it's so personal. And, and a lot of people, they try to come up with the most plausible explanations for things. Oh, you're just hallucinating, this and that. Well, I know for a fact, and I think Sophia, I told you like earlier this year, I was really trying to learn how to get back or actually get back into lucid dreaming, out of body experience. So I was sort of exploring with that hemisync from the Monroe Institute. Like I was putting on these
yeah.
headphones and doing that. And man, I at one point I did really have that sensation, man. It was very powerful. Like so much so it kind of like scared the shit out of me. And I felt like I fell back down. It almost felt like the sensation of
Yeah,
falling, and it was crazy. And I was trying to look back at my body, but for some reason I got kind of worried about that.
bro.
And
Bro, I
For
get
you
me,
know,
so
for me,
I
excited
don't
when
know.
I
it,
hear people. I get so excited when I hear people talk about that because I it brings me back to where I was when I was first having these experiences. Because I was just like you, doing the gateway tapes, getting close, having these paranormal experiences where you feel like you're getting sucked out and you feel like you're leaving your
Mm-hmm.
body. All of that, man, and yeah, and it's very scary. It's scary as hell. I shut it down, every time until I learned somebody who's been doing this, for 10 years, 15
Mm-hmm.
years, maybe. I don't know. He's been doing it for a long time. But yeah, he told me everything. So, and then he verified everything that I was already experiencing on my own. And he kind of helped me, for sure get started into this. Um, but yeah, it was very, very scary. And you can train your consciousness. How I leave my body now is I train my consciousness to just become aware throughout these different states throughout the night. Like I become aware when I'm lucid dreaming, I know how to get out of my body that way. I'll become aware during the strong vibrational phase that you may hear people talk about. I know how to get out of my body
Mm-hmm.
that way. I wake up in the middle of the night in sleep paralysis. I know how to get out of my body that way. I wake up sometimes I'll just floating out of my body, but I'm kind of stuck still. I know how to get out that way. So I've just trained myself over the years
Oh,
how to get out
I
different
was
ways.
tell
Yeah.
I was telling you, Sophia, remember I was telling you I used to always get this sleep paralysis. And when I was younger, I'd say like in my mid 20s, I used to work midnight shift, right, at the state police up in Virginia when I worked there. And I was always really sleepy, really tired. So my body, so I'd go up,
Hmm.
like it was a huge complex, a real big building, and it was dark and scary. And but I didn't care. I didn't give a shit. So I'd go walk, and I'd go up to the nurses' station, which is on the top floor, really dark, and I'd go up in there. But part of my mind was trying to stay awake because I couldn't really just fall asleep and abandon my duties. I just try to get a quick nap in. So I'd go up to the nurses' station, lay on the table, and just try to fall asleep. And I started having these sleep paralysis because I was in that mode between,
Hmm.
awake and sleep. But I was kind of like trying to keep myself awake a little bit so I wouldn't, you know, miss out on my
Yeah.
schedules and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and then I would have this sleep paralysis, which scare the hell out of me. But it happened so much that I started liking it, if you can believe that. And I was telling Sophia, I was telling you that I used to practice this stuff. Like I used to say, oh, I know how to do that. I love it. I used to love it, man. I used to get
Yeah.
in there and just watch this, and I would do it, and it was
so good.
scary, and I would try to scream, and I couldn't really scream
You
because
couldn't
I'm
scream.
paralyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to
Yeah.
scream, but I'm like, yeah, and I'm sitting there aware of all that. I'm like, yeah, let me try to scream. Let me try to move. And I couldn't do it. And sometimes I would see like these hallucinate, I don't know if they're hallucinations or what, but I'd see these
No, they were
entities.
real. Yeah, they were real. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were like
Yeah,
dark
because
shadow
when
type
when the
people.
moment, all right, so let me tell you guys. So when I say sleep paralysis is the gateway, it is like now that's one way to induce sleep paralysis. If you're just very overly tired and you just go to sleep
Mm-hmm.
real quick, your body will shut down before your mind can, right? So then you'll be
Mm-hmm.
in sleep paralysis. That's one way. And whenever you're in sleep paralysis, the veil is gone. When I say the veil of forgetfulness, the veil
Mm-hmm.
between this world and the other side, that's gone. So the moment you're in sleep paralysis, the veil is gone. So that's where the theory of there's a demon sitting on my chest or it's scary. That comes from humans not
Mm-hmm.
knowing what the hell is going on. But because when you're in sleep paralysis, you can see beings around you. Sometimes they may appear as dark,
Mm-hmm.
shadowy
Mm-hmm.
figures, or you won't really see them. And the reason why you won't really see them is because you're not fully on the other side of the light spectrum yet. You're still kind of in between, but the veil is gone. So your ability to perceive that of which is around you is greater at that point. So you can see all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then if from there, bro, if you just relax a little bit, you'll float out of your body and then you'll be fully there and physical because, light is also physical. So when I say you have more access to the
Mm-hmm.
light spectrum, you also have more access to physicality. Yeah.
See,
Mm.
that's where I have like where I'm very conflicted about these things. Not to be the one to push back again, but I gotta be. So like I've had these experiences naturally all my life, and it kind of happens to me involuntarily. And for
Mhm.
a long time, I was trying to suppress it and shut it down because, to be honest, it doesn't feel good. And it always, like the way that it works, I've had all this stuff happen. Like, I walked to my friend's house one time and I was like, bitch, why you got on that same white wife beater and blue shorts? And she was like, what are you outside? But she messaged me. She messaged me and I said, well, the problem is I'm not outside. I'm actually still in my bed. So yeah, I've had these things happen to me, and it was because
Yeah,
she
that's
was
an out of
actually
body for
getting
sure.
ready.
That's an out of body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was. But the reason why is because it's like there was an entanglement because me and her were like best friends, and her dog got sick, and so she thought about me to message me to come over there and like be of assistance or whatever. So she was worried, and because we had like a bond, I believe that I left my body to go check on her, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I noticed that these things only happen to me though when it's necessary. Like it's not something that I consciously dwell on. It's not something that I try to do. And it's like these things happen to me when they need to happen. You see what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So the
Mhm.
reason I'm saying that is because I feel like it could also be dangerous to just try these things and try to make it happen. Because just like here, like we experience horrible situations, dangerous situations, people not integrating their shadow and just being kind of evil and stuff, whatever.
All right.
So,
All right. All right.
like,
So
Mhm.
I feel like on that spectrum or that aspect of consciousness, there could also be a lot of danger. So, if you go into these things without really understanding what you're doing or what's happening, I think it could definitely be also dangerous, or am I wrong there?
all right. All right. So I love what you're saying. This is a good topic as well because sleep paralysis is a very scary thing. Whenever you're in it, it's like, yeah, it's very scary for sure. And all the unknown is always scary, right? But I'm telling you, the other side is no longer unknown because I've seen it and hundreds of others that I'm in contact with every day have also seen it. So it's no longer the unknown. So, like, we know exactly what's going on at every step of the way. So, now to answer your question, is it dangerous? It's not dangerous at all because nothing can hurt, harm, or touch your soul. The only thing that can feel danger is an
Mm.
illusion because this physical body is the only thing that can feel pain or be damaged or be controlled or contained, right? When you're in your soul form, there is absolutely nothing that can touch your soul because it's eternal, right? Think about it. If when you die, you step back into your soul. When you leave your body, you're also in your soul. So it's essentially you're already dead. Nothing can hurt you, right? Now, can there be scary things? Yes, there can be
Mhm.
scary things. However, these scary things are 9 times out of 10 just your projected thought forms. Like if you're in fear and you come out, guess what? Your thoughts now have the ability to manifest in front of you. So if you're scared, something you're going to manifest something scary and it could be attacking you or something like that. And then as soon as
Right.
you overcome that fear, it may disappear instantly, right? Now, is there other
That's
beings
that's
that
definitely
want
Base
to
true.
beliefs. Yeah.
yeah, and if there's other
That's
beings out
definitely
there that
true
are
because
evil, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and no, I agree with you though because I've had instances where I had sleep paralysis and I saw like I would normally see like shadows and these shadows
Mhm.
sometimes they're just like silhouettes and sometimes they're more defined. And then I started seeing the
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
with the hats. I don't know if you ever heard of those. They have like hats on. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Fucking weird.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
That's
yeah.
wild.
yeah, I'm definitely a weirdo. But the ones with the hats on, they were complete assholes and they felt more powerful. So I would be like,
Oh, and
you
Sophia,
know,
you're like you're not weird. Yeah, yeah.
but I would like, I started learning how to. face them and be like, um, you know, I would be able to stop it and come out of it like right away. But when I was younger, I mean, that shit was terrifying. I would be like, I can't get up, I can't move, I can't do anything. And then, as it kept
Mhm.
happening, I would literally get into fights with these things and be like, come at me, bro. I'm not scared of you anymore. And it's like you feel crazy because this shit all kind of happens in your mind. And it's like, what, am I losing it or what? you know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
freaking weird.
So
It's
You were
wild.
spiraling, man.
yeah,
You were
yeah.
spiraling.
So it's not in your imagination. It's definitely real and physical. Like I've manifested beings and they were physical. Like they could literally, like I've manifested somebody. When I say your thoughts can manifest, they can, and they are physical. So like when I was out of my body, your thoughts are physical. Even if you have a thought now, your thought form is still physical on the other side, outside of this light spectrum. And same with as you manifest your thoughts when you're leaving your body, they also appear physical, but you can see them and interact with them because now you are on that side of the light spectrum. So what I mean is like when I would manifest sometimes people to pull me out of my body. And as they're grabbing my hand, they would also be physical and they would literally pull me out. And I was doing that all with my thoughts, you know? So
That is
things,
so wild.
yeah, you can do it so much. And so a lot of times when people are scared of something, it is their own thought forms. However, are there still evil beings out there? Yeah, but they only exist here in the realm of duality, realm
Mm,
one, realm two.
mm.
Outside of this, you don't even see none of that, man. It's just like so low vibrational. Like they really only dwell in these lower realms. I don't know if you guys are familiar with realms, or you guys might be more familiar with
Yes.
the term dimensions, but these lower realms
Yeah,
are really where only that comes into play. Outside of here, there's literally nothing. This is like the worst of the worst is here on Earth. So like, as soon as you get past that fear of dying and you leave your body,
Yeah, I keep hearing
you will
that.
find out.
I when I
Yeah,
yeah,
what were you saying, Scott?
yeah. When I was when I was at Ions, they would always say that like this realm here on Earth is like the worst of the worst. It's like there's like all these different realms or dimensions that souls can exist in, and they kept telling me like this is like the training ground. This is like where consciousness goes to expand itself and become a hero. Like you come here and you get through it depending on what you're brave enough to select like for yourself. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I want to be some homeless dude, that gets murdered somewhere in the middle of the street. Like some people choose that kind of crazy life, right? And then
yeah, yeah. They do.
when they go
I've
back,
always, I've
then they're kind
also
of
heard,
hailed as a hero. Like,
I've
wow,
also,
you did it, man. Good job.
Yeah, yeah. And I swear it's just like that, Scott. So when you come in to be a
but look,
king,
I've also heard theories of this being like a prison planet because on a soul level we're all like spiritual criminals. Is there it could there be something to that this is like the most dense experience because it's meant to reform you, and on a soul level you committed some type of crime, within
no, no,
existence
no,
or
not at
whatever.
all. Not at all. We all
Not at
have
all.
choice. We all have choice to come here. Now, can a soul be trapped here and come here over and over again? Yes. But then again, since we're all our own ultimate authority, that is your own belief system thinking that. So if you come in here and you're like, oh, and you don't remember that you're a sovereign being, ultimate in your ultimate authority, and you leave here and you run into somebody and they're like, oh no, buddy, you got to go back, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you come back and you get a loop and stuff like that. But it's your own doing that is creating that cycle for you. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's why I keep coming back. Cause like I come back to tell people, hey, you know, when you leave here, you don't have to come back. You be free. You are your ultimate authority. Just that message alone will help people. You don't even have to leave your body, but for sure,
Yeah.
when you die, like you don't have to come back. You're like, please don't.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and Scott, so like all right, so this is how you can say when you're talking about picking lives. So it's just like this. On the other side, we're hanging out, we're physical bodies, just like we are right now. So imagine us, we're just hanging out, and we created a video game that we can put our consciousness into to have an experience. And I'm like, yo, Scott, you trying to go play this game, but hey, you got to forget who you are. You got to forget that you're
Hmm.
Scott, and you're just going to go in this game, and you're just, what do you want to experience in here? You'll be like, well, shit, let me go experience this or that. It's just like that.
Hmm.
It's all this is,
Right,
for
right.
sure.
That's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
what they
like in the
tell me.
movie
They.
The Matrix, where they,
Hmm.
how Tank learned jujitsu whenever he put on the headset. It's kind of like entering a simulation, right?
Yeah. It's just like that. I like this show. What's it called? Rick and Morty. There's a scene in this TV
Hmm.
show,
Hmm.
Rick and Morty, where the kid puts on this helmet, and then he gets in the game, and then he gets born, and then he dies, and he takes off the game. He goes, "Oh my god, that was so real!" And then he has like a brief amnesia, and he doesn't fully remember like his whole life. That's exactly what it's like when you come in here to incarnate as a human. You forget who you are for a little bit, and then once you get out of here, it still takes a while for your memories to come back, and you're like, "Oh, that was a crazy experience. What the fuck just did I just go through?" Like it's intense. This is an intense
So it's
thing.
kind of
For
like
sure.
it's kind of like a dream, right? It's like a dream, but way more
Yeah,
lucid. And then what if when you die, you're like, oh wow, that was just a dream. So
yes,
you
I swear
actually
it's like
wake
this.
up.
And yeah, it's like you wake up.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
you don't die, you wake up. And when you look back, you're like, yo, that was really quick. It seems like a second went by, and you're just like, wow, what the hell was that? And then, your memories start to come back, and then you might meet some loved ones and people that were there with you before you came to the game. And then everything's all good after that. You're like, yeah, fuck that. I'm never going back. You know what I mean?
Sophia, when we Sophia,
So
when
I
we go
guess
back, we're
I
gonna
guess
be
it kind
talking
of
about all
depends
our
on you whether
bullshit
you're
we went
having a
through.
night.
Yeah.
Huh? I'm sorry, lag going on again. Shit.
I was just gonna say, Sophia, we're gonna go when we finally die. We're gonna meet back up and gonna give each other high fives on this shit because we've been through it.
It's gonna be like, man, we need to go get a drink now after this fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
Hell
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I swear, it's
you
just
ain't
like
kidding,
that. It's
man.
just like that. It's. I swear, it's just when I tell you guys the other side is just like here. It is who you are does not change. So you still have your sense of humor. You'll still
Mm,
have what you like to do, who you are, your personality. The only thing that changes is you no longer have this human body to worry about. You no longer have the stress of money or worrying about what people think about you or anything like that. So you do become more
hmm.
freer in that sense. But other than that, like who you are stays the same. So, hell yeah, you guys probably will high five when you get out of here for sure.
Hell yeah! And what about all these
Yeah,
astrals
I
we've
mean,
been
I've
dealing
had.
with? Like when we get back there, we're gonna have to talk to them and be like, "Wow, you played that role pretty well." You know what I mean? Like bad
Yeah,
relationships and
yeah, yeah. And you just forget. You're like, oh shit, that shit was crazy, wasn't it? And you're like, yeah. You forgive everybody because, like, you understand that we're all in here in forgetfulness. We all don't remember our divinity. We all don't remember where we come from, right? We're all in forgetfulness here. So, like, you have complete compassion for everybody once you're outside of here. You're like, yo, I get it, man. That shit was
hmm.
crazy. Um,
But then
you
it
know,
seems
I
like
don't know.
there are those, right, who really love this game because they feel like they have the better experience here and the upper hand, and they really want to keep it that way. So when
yeah,
you do start to realize your sovereignty and that you don't even have to participate in this, there's
they'll kill
definitely a
you.
pushback against people like that. Exactly. And that's what,
Yeah,
like, it's not even made up. Like, they really come after you the minute that you realize your own potential
Yeah,
and
as
your
soon
own
as you're a threat to
sovereignty.
the system, yeah, as soon as you're a threat to the system, the control structure here, I mean, they'll kill you. I mean, you can see it even we'll even take it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit lower. So even if if you're a threat to the monetary system, if you figure out a way to create free energy, which has been done repeatedly, Tesla was trying to do
Mm-hmm.
that. There's tons of engineers
Exactly.
extracting energy from the ether. I've been able to extract energy from the ether. Like it's a real thing. Free energy is
Mm.
a real thing. But if you create that and you put that out there, you're then a threat to the monetary system, and they will literally
Yeah.
they kill people for that. You can look at people can look
And the
up these stories
monetary
of
system is the
engineers. Yeah,
system.
yeah, yeah. But that's
Yeah,
why
the monetary
this
system is
Yeah, I was just going
sorry.
to say, but this is why the out of body state is so powerful because we're all coming out and we're telling you guys the truth, and we don't give a fuck if you kill us because I die every night when
Mm-hmm.
I leave my body. I could care less. So I'm speaking my truth till the wheels fall off. I'm telling everybody the
Right.
truth. This is a game. This is that, and I could care less because I understand my eternity. I understand my eternal
Yeah, you
aspect.
no
I
longer
understand.
fear death, right?
What's that?
I said you no longer fear death, and that's um
Yeah, no,
how
no.
you
I,
can't be
I die
controlled.
every night.
Power. It's
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah, I die. Yeah, I die
Yep.
every night. So yeah, and come back to tell people
That's
about it.
awesome,
So
man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
Wow,
great
very
stuff, man.
fascinating.
Well, look, it's been real, man. It's been over an hour. I want to respect your time, and we've got a we're gonna interview a author here in about an hour or 45 minutes from now. So we're gonna get ready for that. But yeah, man, man, Andre, you're really cool, dude. I really appreciate you coming through and talking to us, and it helps our channel. And we're definitely gonna support you in all kinds of different ways. And I'm gonna edit this video, get some of these awkward parts out, But yeah, we'll go ahead and put this up next week, and I know our audience is gonna really love this interview. And I appreciate you, man, so much for coming through. And man, hopefully we'll link up again, and if not in this life, in some other life.
yeah, man. Anytime, man. I'm here for sure. Thank you guys for
Thank you,
having me. I
man.
All right,
appreciate it.
brother.
I appreciate it. All right, guys.
All
Bye.
right, man. Have a good one.